Alright, friends, if you're an early bird like me, you can catch some extra credit by joining Coach Hernandez's Zoom call slash workout. You can get some extra credit real easy every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you're up before 9 a.m., join us today. We will be working out. Some quick shout outs to Ansu, Sanaya, and Hakobo. You guys have been going beyond. We appreciate your hard work. Keep it up. Join us for our office hours today, and let's get into the assignment. So let's actually look at it first. You'll see that there's quite a few things to do for this assignment. That's because we're preparing our classes for a bigger program that we're going to be doing on Thursday and Friday. So we got to make sure you guys, one, understand how to use these methods well. Remember, those are just functions. And two, are very comfortable with manipulating the classes. Let's get into lesson 14, friends. Hit it. Remember what our objectives are. So I'm going to point out the new objectives. Students will be able to create a 21 question style game. It's called, well, right now I have Chore Hacks. Kind of a lame name, honestly. It's going to be your job to make a better game or a better name for the game than that. But we'll talk about that more later on. For now, let's take a look at the code. So, jump into it. As always, I try to break down the code. There's actually two parts: what's in the code, or what's in the chores class, there we go, and what's outside the chores class. You can't see it because there's not enough space right now. I did make a note about the import. It allows us to use our previously created chore class that we made in yesterday's lesson. So some essential knowledge, you're going to have to know that self.chore list equals square brackets creates an empty list, and that empty list is going to come in handy later on. Quick question though. For that for loop, how many times will it iterate? Next question. What will be the value of x when the for loop stops? Okay. Some more essential knowledge. Let's look at chore name. So that's actually an accessor. It's called an accessor because it gives access to information about the object. Any function that returns a copy of an internal variable or computed value is an accessor. So it's just a type of function in the same way that a init is a constructor, and we'll be talking about different types of functions later. Question: which would be the best name for the accessor for the area? Okay, some common misconceptions here in this import. The first chore is referring to the file name chore.py, and that second one is referring to the name of the imported class. Remember, there's a chore class inside of chore.py. Alright, there's kind of a lot here to read, so let's just jump into it. I'm importing my chore class from chore.py, and then we're creating a chores class. For the constructor, we're creating a chores list that is empty, and then we have several lists with the parameters to create a new list of chores, which we do inside of this for loop right here. Once we add those chores to the list, then we move on to our accessor, which is here, chore name. In chore name, it prints out the name of the chore from the argument, which will serve as the index for the list. All right, outside of the chores class, we use our constructor in order to instantiate a chores object named list. And then we have list.chore name of one prints the name of the second chore, and self.chore list. Remember that when you're indexing, lists begin with index number 0. This means that 0 is the first item in the list and 1 is the second item in that list, so on, and so on. If you're reading this, I am creating a chores object named list, and then your output will be laundry. Don't believe me? Remember, here's the second one on your list, and each of these items corresponds to the same number inside the other lists. Remember that when you are creating your other chores. Now, let's look at the assignment one more time. Okay, in the assignment, your tasks are 1, to comment on lines 12 through 16, right here. 12 through 16. What's going on in there? Next, you're going to include some hacks for the hacks list. Give one for dishes, laundry, and sweeping. If you don't have any hacks, you can just look up something simple. For example, when I'm doing the dishes, I like to do the bigger dishes first and then go down to the smaller dishes. When I'm sweeping, I like to sweep in from the outside in. Those are just some things I like to do. It doesn't matter. You can just put anything there. Let's see. For step 8, add one more chore to the list. So make sure right now there's 3 chores on the list. There should be 4 by the time you're done. Step 9, create an accessor method for the areas, tools, and hacks. Take a look at the accessor that we have and then just use pattern recognition to figure that one out. Step 10, create a method that prints out the list of chores. This is probably going to take you a little while to think through, but believe me, you've seen it done plenty of times before, and if you need help, make sure you jump in to one of those video calls today. Step 11, print out your list of chores using that method you created, and then finally print the name of the area of the second chore using your accessor that you created as well. When done, copy the URL, paste in Google Classroom, and then submit it both here and in the Google Classroom. Whew. I know, that was a lot. I know. All right, so make sure you're completing that Ed puzzle and that you're posting a link to your code in the Google Classroom. Remember, 2D is due today, so get that done along with 2A and 2C. And if you have not already, make sure you're signing up for the whole school Google Classroom. We have a whole school virtual meeting that's happening on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Make sure you're logging in. Here's the ID, here's the password, and here's the link. All right, that's all for me. Plus Ultra.